So there is no agreed upon consensus for BPD or borderline personality. Like, what is the issue? What exactly is the issue? What is happening with this the psychology of the disorder across the APA, which is American Psychological Association, therapists, counselors, whatever. There is no agreed upon consensus of what the issue is. Why is this behavior happening? Why is this personality disorder happening? What is going on with this disorder? I think the biggest mistake that we make, like in psychology and counseling in general, is we focus too much on the behavior. We deal too much with the behavior. It's the reason. It's one. I believe this is the reason, for example, that we're terrible at treating addiction, like addiction treatment across the board is ineffective. It just does not get results. And I believe addiction is one of those issues where we're not getting to the core of the issue. And that's true for BPD, right? BPD is notoriously difficult to treat. And I believe that one of those barriers is that it's just misunderstood across the board, whether it's doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, whatever. There is no real true understanding of what is happening with this disorder. There's a lot of emphasis or a lot of people paying attention to the behaviors, but not really trying to get to the core of the issue or solve the core of the issue. If you're new here, by the way, my name's Scott. I'm a licensed therapist here in the beautiful state of Utah. It is sort of my day off. I didn't want to put goop in my hair just to record a couple of YouTube videos, so I am wearing a hat. But this is Salt City Counseling. I specialize in a number of things. I may be one of the only therapists that actually truly has taken the time and effort to understand borderline personality disorder or BPD. I learned about it years ago from someone who had actually recovered or what I would call reintegrated from the disorder. And it was only through that person that I could ask the questions that I needed to ask or wanted to ask. Turned out to be quite the rabbit hole, let me tell you, and come to an understanding of what BPD is and what the core issue is. So, in this video, I'm going to address what I believe the core issue is and what I believe is the best way to repair it. And a quick spoiler alert, the best way to repair it, if you ask me, is going to be internal family systems therapy, or what I would call IFS. I have another video here on my channel. They're a little bit longer form where I go into a little bit more detail about why I believe IFS or internal family systems is going to prove to be, in the long run, the best way to treat BPD. I'll give you a quick crash course on why I don't think DBT or EMDR does it. So DBT, if you don't know, dialectical behavioral therapy developed specifically for BPD, borderline. It has other applications and other uses. Actually, people with other issues can find it terribly useful. But those with BPD, they don't connect to it. There's no like real inherent, like to them, it feels like alien. It feels foreign to them. So DBT has just like in the long run, it doesn't have good outcomes. Okay. Just meaning that the number of people who have recovered from the disorder by going through the whole DBT regimen is pretty low. In the industry, it's easy to just blame people with a disorder, like, well, if they weren't so difficult, if the disorder wasn't so difficult to treat. And I've just kind of landed on the conclusion that it's just not that effective. It's not very effective for borderline. And so a lot of people, a lot of therapists, if you have BPD, may try to direct you into DBT. I just don't think it's that helpful to for borderline. EMDR, I've done content previously on EMDR. It's a trauma. It's designed to address trauma. The idea being that if you address the trauma, then the personality disorder will improve. Doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So I wanted to talk about first, very briefly, what I believe the core problem is with BPD and why those two therapy models do nothing to fix that core problem. Okay, and so that is that this self, what we'll call the self, that's what they call it in IFS, where the identity becomes broken or shattered into pieces. I've been calling it fragmented, shattered parts. That's what they call in IFS as parts, and that those with a personality disorder, they have an identity disturbance. That's part of the criteria in the DSM. They're lacking identity. They have an identity disturbance. The self, the identity is just broken into pieces. So to me, that is the core of the issue. Okay, I'm just going to put it. I'm just going to say it right here. I believe that the core of the issue with a personality disorder is that the self is just broken into a lot of pieces, or is just shattered into pieces. Okay, and so in order to help the personality disorder, in order to help this mental illness, we have to be able to put the self back together. I've always really liked the principle of that, the kintsugi. Some people have seen this, where the Japanese will take a broken pot and they'll piece it together with with paint that's gold, or glue that's gold, and so it turns out to be a really beautiful. It turns out to be really beautiful again with that gold interlaced in it. And so I've really enjoyed that particular metaphor in terms of helping BPD. That if we can get those pieces back together and reintegrate those pieces, the finished product is quite nice. Um, and and if they recover, they're going to be really happy with their own individual results. So let it be known, I'm planting my flag on this. I believe that this is the core issue with personality disorder, and I wish that the whole fields of psychology, therapy, and counseling would adopt this notion that the it is because the self, the identity is broken into pieces, and we have to help that person reintegrate those pieces. The technique is internal family systems. Internal family systems specifically is about identifying and addressing this whole dynamic, that there are a whole bunch of different parts or pieces or fragments, and working with those individual pieces or fragments and helping them to let go of their pain or to heal, and then reintegrate with the self. Now, the more that we do that with different pieces, and in my experience of doing IFS, not only for myself but for others, um, that if you can help heal and reintegrate some major players in the psyche, um, a lot of progress can happen in a short amount of time. Or you can see a lot of healing, you can see a lot of peace, you can see a lot of change, and just watching the person to become whole. So if you ask me, the issue with borderline is that the individual psyche, the self, the identity is broken or shattered into pieces, and we need to piece them essentially back together. Now, I've made other content on this. This video was inspired by an article that I recently published on my website. You can go read the whole thing. I'll put the link in the description below. saltcitycounseling.com. You go to my blog and you can read the whole write up about IFS and BPD. I really do believe that IFS is going to be the ticket, okay, to help effectively treat BPD. There are lots of things that I love about IFS. I've covered them in other places. I love how simple it is. It's not complicated. There are a few basic and simple techniques that can be repeated over and over and over again and can help get really positive results. Okay. It's also a highly compassionate approach. I love that about IFS. When I work with individuals with IFS, we incorporate high levels of self compassion, which is right practicing a way to practice self respect and self love, and that highly compassionate approach. I have found is just a really nice way to go about therapy. There's not enough of that going around here. There's also not enough ideas here that people just have a firm, there's an identity or a self within them, and we need to help heal and bolster the self, your connection with that identity, that connection with yourself, is the road to healing, and that might be the most important thing that you ever do, right? So that's what I believe is at the core of BPD, and what I believe is going to help us solve it. Okay, so if you have struggled with BPD and you've done DBT or you've done EMDR and you're looking for the right answers, I would seek out internal family systems or IFS. Okay, so if you have questions about that, put them in the description below, or you can make a comment on the video. I do my best to get to the video questions. You can email me directly. That will also be in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe while you are here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.